Ever since the absolute debacle created by COVID and the ensuing failure of governments and organizations to handle the situation, the world has seemed different. Everyone has noticed, some more than others, so it's not a secret that the rich, powerful, and evil have taken the opportunity to become more rich, more powerful, and in turn, more evil. While many people have been taken entirely by surprise by how insane the world has become, there is a group who seem completely unburdened by the global shift. Unfortunately, some have seen them as cold or uncaring, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. Christians who have taken the time to educate themselves on biblical prophecy are not at all surprised by what is happening to our society. In fact, we've been expecting it for a while now. The only thing that is upsetting to this group at this point is that so many still can't see what's going on. We as Christians are becoming bigger outcasts than we have ever been, and that is, in part, because we are completely misunderstood. There has been no greater villain than the white Christians who have forced their way into places of power and crammed their hypocritical beliefs down the world's throats. Or at least that's how many see it, but the truth is much different than what many would have you believe. There are so many myths about Christianity that it's no wonder so many hate us so much. Myth number 1, Christianity is anti-science. In fact, science was created as a tool to study and understand the Bible. It is also a fact that there is more scientific evidence to support the biblical accounts of creation than there is to support evolution. Science has also been used to prove many other aspects of the Bible to be perfectly accurate to what is written. There are numerous scientists who have come to find that the Bible is true but are silenced and often lose their jobs if they speak up. Myth number 2. The Bible has been rewritten and interpreted so many times that it's untrustworthy. It's true, the Bible has multiple versions and has been translated into numerous languages. However, we have numerous ancient sources with which to compare, including the Dead Sea Scrolls. The fact is, the Bible is the most perfectly preserved book in history, and the differences between the ancient text and modern Bibles is so small that it makes almost no difference whatsoever. In fact, many scholars have called the preservation of the ancient text a miracle. Myth number 3. The Bible supports violence, slavery, and countless other horrible things. The Bible, even with its outstanding preservation, is a complex book. This is why people go to school to learn how to interpret it to the fullest. It's why Christians, myself included, study it their whole lives. You can't just read it once and fully understand it. A popular description of the Bible is that the Old Testament is a history book. The New Testament is a how-to manual. This is actually very accurate because the moment Christ died, the world was changed forever. In the Old Testament, people had slaves. God spoke of the slaves very casually, which upsets a lot of people. This is why you need to study, not just read. In the time of the Old Testament, a slave was someone who worked for someone else to pay off a debt. It was a mutually agreed upon arrangement and couldn't last more than 7 years. Trying to understand the ancient world with a modern understanding of the world leads to misunderstanding. Similarly, when it came to violence, understanding the Bible better will help to understand why horrible things were allowed to happen. Ever since COVID, and honestly, since 9/11 and probably earlier, there have been a growing number of conspiracy theorists. Lately, they have been right on a lot of things. And the reason for that is that media is using that phrase as a tool to keep us separated and fighting amongst ourselves. Christians have been lumped into that group, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, for those of us who know what the Bible says is coming for humanity, It's become more difficult to speak up and share what we know without being considered crazy. I think it's important to be wise about who we engage with, but we absolutely must speak up when the opportunity presents itself. Things are very rough right now. I believe they will get worse. I know that is upsetting to a lot of people, but I believe that's because of the most important myth that no one is talking about. This is not life. Life is not the 80 or so years we spend on this earth, in this body. We are eternal. It is unbearable when a child dies of cancer, but they didn't die. They're still alive. Their suffering is over. Their real life has begun, and for those of us who believe, we will all be together again when our real lives begin. If you're reading this and have a negative opinion of what Christianity truly is, I bet you'd change your mind if the truth was revealed to you. If you'd like to learn more, I'll leave links to 2 very good movies about the subject of God's existence and creation. Be warned though, the acting in the Genesis Impact is rough, but the information is great.